¿Qué pasa, people? Welcome to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Jay Real. We have a real good show for you all. We're going to be covering everything from the world of wrestling all the way to NASCAR, golf, and hockey. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this because we have so much to cover. Right now on the line, we have Wrestling Expert 37. What's up, buddy?
Not much, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, man, just excited to get some of this update information on last weekend's events. How did it go?
Oh, it went awesome. Couple good matches. You had John Cena goes one-on-one with Ryback. That ended in a no contest where nobody won because John Cena got carried out on a stretcher.
So John Cena got carried out on a stretcher?
Yeah, they don't know if he re-injured his neck where he had that neck surgery. They don't know if he re-injured it, but they're going to have an update next week for him.
Now, was this part of the show, or is this actual an injury?
No, actual injury.
Oh, wow. Okay, what other big matches were there this last weekend?
You had Big Show went one-on-one with, can't see now. Hold on, I'll get back to that. But you had Mark Henry went one-on-one with Sheamus in a strap match. Sheamus won that one. He beat Mark Henry.
Okay.
Then you had Triple H. He fought Brock Lesnar in a steel cage and lost.
So Brock Lesnar, was that for a title?
Yeah, no, that was not for a title.
Okay, that was just straight up, okay.
Right. For the tag team titles, you had Team Aldo that went against two members of the Shield, which we have new tag team champions now. The Shield got the tag team champions.
Okay, so we have new tag team champions in the WWE.
Yep, we got a new Intercontinental champion because Kofi Kingston lost to the third member of the Shield.
Oh, wow. So they're just kind of shaking things up there in the WWE.
And Big Show lost to Randy Orton.
Oh, okay. So Randy Orton's still pretty popular then right now.
Yeah. And then also, Alberto Del Rio beat Jack Swagger in an I Quit match.
Oh, wow. So pretty interesting matches all weekend long then, right?
Yeah, they got a new one coming up, new pay-per-view coming up next month. It's, an already one match signed is a rematch between Ryback and John Cena in a ambulance match, which whoever loses has to be carried out in the ambulance.
Oh, wow. So right now, Wrestling Expert 37, who is the main champion? Who is the big champion right now in WWE?
Right now, John Cena and Dolph Ziggler.
And that's because there's two different divisions in WWE, which is Nitro.
SmackDown and you got Raw.
Oh, SmackDown and Raw. That's right. Okay. Well, yeah. You know what? We appreciate you coming in and giving us an update. We hope that on this next month, the next month coming up, the big pay-per-view, you'll come in and give us an update and let us know what's going on.
I definitely will.
All right, buddy. Well, you take care there in sunny Florida and hang tight there, all right?
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Give it to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that was Wrestling Expert 37 giving us an update on last weekend's big event in the WWE world. We have no time to cut away right now to break because we got so much going on, and I just want to go ahead and just jump right into it. The big, annoying topic right now is golf, and it's with Sergio Garcia and Tiger Woods. Now, a few weeks back, Sergio Garcia was complaining about some low-handed tactics he felt Tiger Woods was taking with him, and it was just all a big misunderstanding, and now it's just getting out of hand. Sergio Garcia at a dinner event the other evening was asked the question if he'd have Tiger Woods over for dinner at his house or something like that. And Sergio Garcia made some remarks, something to the fact of, yes, he'd have him over for dinner and he would serve him fried chicken. Now, anyone that is not white, anyone that has had any kind of racial or ethnic slurs towards them, at this point in our time and in this point in our lives and in the whole idea of these kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say jabs at the person, that kind of remark to me is just not only not offensive, it almost has like an effect. It's almost embarrassing to even come out and say it because it's so ridiculous now. You know, that would be like someone inviting me over to their house and making a smart aleck comment like, you know, what are we going to do? Serve them rice and beans and tortillas? And you know what? I'd probably look at the person and say, hey, great, because I do enjoy that kind of food. It's not even, this whole thing is just being blown out of proportion by the media. The media is making it sound like Sergio Garcia is this big old racist. The guy is Spaniard. He's not your typical European American white guy. So for him to be called a racist is ridiculous. He was trying to make a comment to get a laugh out of people, to take a jab at Tiger Woods, and it just made him look like a bigger idiot than he already made himself out to look from the tournament a couple weeks back. So to me, I'm just going to look at this topic and say, who really cares? If black people are still getting offended by things like that, then they have bigger issues than having someone say they like fried chicken. We should be at a place where we're past all of this, that it shouldn't be offensive. And you know what, honestly, if someone wants to say some kind of stupid comment like that, I think they have every right to. It just shows what an idiot and how immature they are. So we're just going to leave it at that. Sergio Garcia is no more of a racist than I am. I am not sticking up for what he said, and I'm not saying what he said is okay. What I'm saying is it should not be that offensive anymore, and it should not be this big of a deal to be all over mainstream media and sports to make it just this huge thing. We're just going to leave it. It was a dumb thing for him to say, makes him look like a fool and immature, and it's actually going to backfire on him. Thank God Tiger Woods is above all of that, and he's not going to that level to fire back. It's just, who cares? We're moving on. NBA, if anyone watched the game the other night, it's almost embarrassing that they would allow LeBron James to have a clear shot to the basket and to have a clear, easy layup with no one there to defend with 2.0 seconds left in the game. Now, no one would be surprised that LeBron would be getting the ball at the last few seconds. What's more surprising is that the defense of the Indiana Pacers had no answer and no even ability to stop this from happening. Now, the Indiana Pacers had a good game. They fought hard, and they made it very close at the end of the game. But again, to allow LeBron James an easy layup with no fight at all to stop that from happening is unexcusable. And it's things like this are the reason why Indiana Pacers will not compete in this series. We right here, Jay Real from the Average Joe Sports Talk Show, I predict that this series will go no more than 6, possibly 5, giving the Pacers one win in this series. And it's just because they have not the experience that the Heat do in these kind of series. You got to put it in perspective. LeBron James, over the last 7 years, he's been in the league 9. 7 or at least 5 of those years, he's been in some kind of playoff situation, whether it's in the finals, semifinals. I mean, this guy has experience. This guy has the tools to push this team, his Heat team, over and to get them in the finals. And again, as we've said every show since the beginning of the season, the Heat will be in the playoffs, in the finals, and will win against San Antonio Spurs. And as we're talking about the Spurs, let's go ahead and move on over. The Spurs are up 2-0 on their series against the Grizzlies. It's going to be very difficult for the Grizzlies to get back into the series. And the reason why is just like Indiana, they have little experience in these high-profile, high-intense playoff series, and I don't think they're equipped to deal with it as these veterans, the Spurs, who have multiple championships and have been in multiple games and series like this. They're just going to be difficult to beat. So that is we're just going to wait and let it play out. But right now, the Heat are looking very good in their series even though it was just one game, and the Spurs are looking very good in their series, up 2-0. Now, some other news in NBA. It has been reported that Carmelo Anthony has been playing with a tear in his shoulder. Now, if this is true or not, we'll have to wait and see. But it's pretty sad to think that you go into the series with Indiana. They should have came out. They had every opportunity, and they had the tools to win that series. And if it comes out that Melo was hurt, here we go again with controversy and making excuses. And poor New York, they've had their two top stars plagued with injuries all season, and now they go to their number one guy, and he could have been hurt through their last series in the playoffs too. We'll just see how that plays out. If it turns out that he was playing with a tear in his shoulder, then you're going to feel bad for the Knicks, but just like any other team, you got to play through these injuries, and you got to figure out and find a way to win. Excuse me. Let's move on. We're not going to cut away to break. This is our Friday show, and we have so much more sports to cover, so we're just going to dig right in. NFL news. Brian Urlacher has announced his retirement from the NFL, and I think a lot of it had to do with there weren't a lot of teams offering him the big money contracts, the long year contracts that he was looking for. Even his own team, the Chicago Bears, left him out, hung him out to dry. That is pretty sad. The guy gave him, a decade and more of hard service, Pro Bowl type service, and all he wanted to do was finish his career playing another year or two with his team, the Bears, and they just wouldn't accommodate anything or even come close to paying the man. Now let's break this down. The NFL is a business. They look at it from the business side of the sport. Players, on the other hand, they look at it from the side of their livelihood, their way to maintain and sustain life the way that they have been used to doing it in the years playing football. When you look at it from that point of view, sometimes you got to look at paying athletes for their service and their loyalty. And it's very difficult to say, just because they played 10 plus years for this team, we should sacrifice our future of making it a team better so we can overpay someone that has done for us in the past instead of what they can do for us in the future. But when it comes to certain players like this, that not every player is a Brian Urlacher. This is a possible Hall of Famer. I think they should have opened up the checkbook a little bit, maybe met him halfway and said, you know what, you're going to finish your career as a Bear, even if the guy wasn't playing to the standards that they're used to, just having him on the field another year, possibly two, and then let the guy ride off into the sunset. It would have been nice to see, but unfortunately the NFL is a business, and they weren't willing to cough up and open the checkbook for him, so he said, fine, I'm going to retire. Now, Brian Urlacher has came out in an interview saying that he does have some hard feelings right now for the Bears. He's said that over the last few months. And the question was asked to him on the Dan Patrick Show that if he would ever foresee a scenario where if the Bears called on him through the season due to some kind of big injury in their linebackers, if he'd be willing to come back, and his answer was absolutely no. So it sounds like there's not good communication and not a good thing right now between Urlacher and the Bears. And you know what? I agree with Urlacher. He should have a chip on his shoulder. He should be upset with the Chicago Bears for leaving him out to dry. Again, time will tell. We'll see how this story plays out. But as for right now, the NFL has lost a good player in Brian Urlacher. He has been plagued with injuries over the last season or two. So maybe it's best that he does hang it up and looks forward to maybe going into the behind the camera or in front of the camera, being a commentator or something like that. Again, we will see. Now, in other lighter news in the NFL, Tim Tebow, this guy, you got to love him. We love him here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. We think Tim Tebow should have a job in the NFL right now. But he has everybody coming to his side to back him up. And now we have Chuck Norris. He's there in Florida, and he is also backing and putting out his voice that the Jags should give Tim Tebow a shot to make that team something. Now, we're not going to go out on a limb and say that the Jaguars with Tim Tebow would be a playoff or Super Bowl contending team. That's not what we're trying to say at all. We're just trying to say the Jags are the Jags. Why not add Tim Tebow and add a little flair and add a little fan favorite support for your team? Yes, you will have the circus show up at your stadium. Yes, you will have a lot of media there every day at your doorstep trying to get in to get a peek at what's going on. But come on, you're the Jags. How can this hurt? We're not talking like this is the Green Bay Packers or the Pittsburgh Steelers or even the Patriots. This is the Jacksonville Jaguars. To have your name in the spotlight would be good for your team. To have your name and have people show up to your stadium, he would pack that stadium. People would be driving not only from Florida, but all over the eastern border of the United States to get a look at your team with Tim Tebow behind center. It just makes sense compared to what we saw last season, the product you put on the field. But anyway, big ups to Chuck Norris for backing up Tim Tebow. And it's so funny, Tim Tebow makes more news, is in the media more than most superstar athletes that are in the NFL right now, and the guy doesn't have a job. That is how popular and how much in demand people want Tim Tebow. What can we say? The guy's he's a winner, and he makes waves. So we're backing up Tim Tebow to go Jags as well. Will it happen? Don't know. Okay, for the last few months, this has been a big topic in the NFL, and it's the owner of the Redskins, the Washington Redskins, is refusing to change the name of his team because supposedly there is a racial and it causes offensive, I don't even know how to say this without being offensive, but the Redskins is offensive to Native Americans. Okay, we are here in Ruidoso, New Mexico. We are no more than 5 to 10 miles from a reservation ourselves here. I can't tell you the number and the squadron of Native American fans that support the Washington Redskins. They love this team just because of the reflection of them as a people and as a winning or a high impact team. Now, am I trying to speak for them? No, I'm just saying what I've witnessed and what has been told to me by my friends and by knowing a lot of the folks that live on the reservation, that they have no problem with the Washington Redskins. They actually root for them because of these references towards Native Americans and being called the Redskins. So let's break this down, folks. This is so frustrating and it's just so misunderstood. If we are still at a place in 2013 that a guy can't make a reference about fried chicken and people not get offended and upset about it, then they need to put their heads in the sand and try to go back in time 50 years, because we should be way beyond that. Just like this, the Redskins have been called the Redskins as long as I've been alive, and how is this all of a sudden such a huge deal and so traumatically offensive to people that now I'm 40 years old. So within 40 years, excuse me, that this is so offensive now that we have to change the Washington Redskins name. I think it's ridiculous. I, along with Dan, the owner of them, say don't change the name. Leave it the way it is. It's tradition. It's history. It would be a mockery to change it. That's just my opinion, but obviously the owner of the Washington Redskins also feels that way, that there is no need to change their name. Again, we'll just see what happens and how this plays out. But we're standing up behind them. I think if we were to poll a lot of Native Americans, most would say that they're not offended by this at all, because again, it's been like this for over, 50 years? Give me a break. Okay, so moving on. We are going to finish up on NFL with some more injury news. Michael Crabtree has a torn Achilles tendon, and he just had surgery, and he should be out till like November, December of the season. That is a huge setback, not only for him, who had a career-breaking season last season, because their new quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, and him are like, they hooked up. He finally found a quarterback that will get him the ball. The quarterback finds a receiver that he trusts to catch the ball. So we feel real bad for Michael Crabtree. Hopefully he will recover, he'll be better than ever, and that he will make a huge impact towards the end of the season for those San Francisco 49ers. We'll just, again, wait and see how that plays out. And then, as we mentioned on the last show, Tony Romo had to go in for back surgery, and we didn't have all the facts, but I did want to just touch on it, and now we have a little more facts about what happened. He had some cysts removed from his back. It was a minor surgery, but how much surgery is actually minor? It is actually back surgery to remove cysts. Now, he should be ready to go into training camp, but right now on OTAs he is not available. He's recovering from back surgery. So there's just a little more information, so we could go ahead and finish up from the show on Tuesday on why he was having back surgery. We hope he recovers well, because he needs to recover well. We're talking, this guy just got a fat contract. A lot of people don't believe that he deserved it through his play and through his performance. So this guy, he needs to come out and have a record-breaking season to let people feel that, and come on, let's be real here, folks. Would anybody turn down that kind of money? Would anybody turn down $100 million, even if you didn't deserve it at your job? No, I don't think so. So the guy, he only took the money that was offered to him, but he needs to perform, so that way people don't jump all over his back, which already, as we can see, has issues, and can get behind him and support him. Just have to see how his recovery goes over the next few months. Now, let's move on. Again, we ain't going to go to commercial. We're not going to cut away. We have more sports to cover and not a lot of time. Baseball. This is like so frustrating to me. For a week now, all I've been hearing all morning long is Don Mattingly is going to get fired from the Dodgers. Some reporter, some schmuck, some a-hole decides that he gets a little bit of information and wants to put it out on Front Street, kick Don Mattingly under the bus, saying that he's going to be fired any day now. Any day now, this guy's going to be fired. If I was the Dodgers, I would purposely, even if you were going to fire Don Mattingly, I would purposely leave this guy on the books for at least a month, so everyone could look at this reporter who tried to break this as some kind of big news, trying to break a story about some guy's welfare, well-being, his livelihood for him and his family. How embarrassing to have this out, that you break, that this guy's going to get fired, and the guy's still coaching right now a week later, and they're winning. This is just so frustrating and makes me so mad that just a pencil pusher would try to break news about someone being fired before it's actually happened, or at least the date of it happening, because you want to break a story. And now this guy has to go to his family every day, look at his kids, look at his wife, and they have to ask the question, so did you get fired today? Hey, Dad, did you get fired? No, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll get fired because this pencil pusher says you're going to get fired. Man, I hope the Dodgers do not fire Don Mattingly. It's not his fault that these multi-million dollar players that they've signed, their payroll is as high as the Yankees right now. The Dodgers have committed and have shown their fans that we're going to put the money where our mouths are, and we're going to hire and we're going to bring on these huge all-stars with huge contracts, and they're just not performing. They are totally underperforming. It's not Don Mattingly's fault, and Don Mattingly should not be fired. And I hope this reporter that put it out there gets embarrassed, because if they don't fire him, he should be ridiculed by his peers, and he should be looked at as a source not to be trusted, and his name should be mud for a while for doing this to somebody. No one deserves it. I don't care if you're a superstar or a teacher or a police officer or a custodial person. No one deserves to be going to work every day thinking they're going to get fired and have to answer questions like this by their family because of someone else thinking that they know more than the owners of this company. So anyway, good luck to Don Mattingly. He's winning right now. His team needs to turn things around. I guarantee if Don Mattingly could put on a batting cap, get out there behind the plate, he would, because that guy was a winner. We'll have to see how things turn out for the Dodgers, but I hope they don't fire him. And then finally, we're going to wrap up this Friday show. I know it was a lot. We moved a lot really quick, but we had a lot to cover, and we cannot end the show without talking about our Pittsburgh Penguins. They went into Game 4 and just backhanded baby powder, bam, all over their opponents, and now they're up 3-1 in the series, and we expect them to close it out on the next game. We really hope that we can meet up with the Kings, who are returning champions from last season, but right now the Kings are looking a little bit sluggish. They just lost their game the other night, and the Sharks tied up that series. It's 2-2. We hope the Kings will push it out, though, because I would love to see our Pittsburgh Penguins facing up against the returning champions, the Kings. So, folks, for right now, we have to thank our sponsors, the Player Zone. We couldn't do it without them. And Right On Time Air and Delivery Service. We had a really great show and fun time bringing you all this information. Have to thank Wrestling Expert 37 for coming in and giving his cuts on what happened over the weekend for their big WWE show. And we also have to thank Big Sarge for hooking us up with all the information and trying to get out there and beat down the bushes so we can get some in-house studio, in-house guests to give us their cuts on what's going on in the sports world. So for right now, this is Jay Real. We're going to sign out. Don't forget, if you're in the area, the gun show this weekend here in Ruidoso, New Mexico, check it out. We'll see you next week. Jay Real says God bless and much love. Jay Real. Jay Real.